Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Monday, the 14th of December. I'm Paul and I'll be your host this morning here on New Zealand Sports Radio. In the news today, we'll cover off on the cricket. We've got the second test going on down there between New Zealand and the West Indies in Wellington. Also down in Nelson, New Zealand A are taking on West Indies A, and over in Australia, we have the Australia A taking on the Indians. Team over in rugby, have news around the Rugby World Cup 2020, as well as Rugby World Cup 2023. Paul Cole, the result of the Formula One from the weekend, and also we have Premiership football action. The New Zealand Premiership, that is, also from the weekend to be up to date with, as well as the golf with the Women's Open currently underway. So let's kick off with that Formula One action. And over at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull managed to win the race ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Hamilton in their Mercedes. A rare time where a driver has managed to get ahead of the McLarens, and a very good drive from Max Verstappen, who's been the only real driver to challenge the Mercedes, even if he has been driving in a slower car this season. It's been a tough weekend for Lewis Hamilton, recovering from COVID-19, and he's happy that that it is all over. He said he wasn't physically 100% this weekend. It was a shame for Perez, who in his racing point had to pull over to the side of the track with engine failure. He won the race last weekend, and Shakir, but currently doesn't have a drive for next season. So good luck to him, and hopefully he gets a drive somewhere next season after getting that victory last weekend. Over in the rugby then, and the Rugby World Cup 2023 draw will be taking place today. It'll be, tomorrow in the early hours tomorrow morning, New Zealand time. So hopefully we will have the result of that to bring you tomorrow morning here on the New Zealand Sports Briefing at 7 a.m. That's right, we come to you 7 days a week at 7 a.m. So I came across news of the Pac 4. Now, this is a new tournament that really has flown under the radar, and will be there's going to be new international tournaments between the USA, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia for the women's 15s team. Yes, the first time that the Blackfern have a regular tournament by the looks of things. Currently, talks are underway to try and host that here in New Zealand ahead of the 2021 Rugby World Cup next year. So some warm-up games for the Rugby World Cup for the Blackferns, the Wallaroos, as well as the USA and Canada as well. And it's about time that we had a regular tournament for the Blackferns and the Wallaroos to take part in. Canada are ranked above the Wallaroos, and USA just one place behind them. So we're talking top class opposition here. Not they're much better than they are in the men's side of the things. Moving on to the squash, and Paul Cole should be in action right now. His match started at 7 a.m., so 4 minutes ago, and we'll bring you up to speed with results tomorrow. With is his last tournament of the season in that one as the men's side of the event kicks off. Over in the golf then, and in the LPGA, players currently suspended at the US Women's Open. After 3 rounds, Lydia Ko is sat in at tied fifth place on par, even par, with Shi Buno of Japan. leading the way at 4 under par. Neither of them have teed off in the fourth round yet, as play has been suspended. If you weren't following over the weekend, you might have missed that Amelia Garvey unfortunately had a poor 3 holes, a bogey, triple bogey and bogey, that meant that she missed the cut by just 1 shot in the end and didn't make it to play in the weekend in her first major. Over in the European Tour, and the DP World Tour Championship has finished with Fitzpatrick of England winning the tournament at 15 under par. Lee Westwood was 1 shot behind in second place there for that one. Moving on then, let's talk about the football. And in the ISPS Hand Premiership, Auckland were docked 9 points for fielding an ineligible player for 3 of their matches. This saw them dropping from third when they had 12 points to bottom of the table ahead of the final round of games this weekend. Initially, when it came to light that they had played an ineligible player, then they were told not to play them outside the 48-hour time limit. Clubs to protest. No righteous punishment was capital force. Decision. This in the same regional league. Now, I don't know if it was a mistake or on purpose for that one, but that was all happening ahead of the weekend. There were 3 games in the final regular round of the women's competition, with Central Football losing out to Southern United 2-3. Canterbury United Pride beating Northern Lights 2-0. Wybok and Auckland fought out a 4-all draw. That means regular season has finished with Canterbury Pride finishing at top of the table with 6 wins from their 6 games. Capital will join them in the final with 4 wins, a draw. And then Central Football Federation in last place. That draw meant that Auckland Football did not pick up the wooden spoon. Moving on then to the men's side of the competition. We had week 5 of their one. On Saturday, Wellington Phoenix beat Hawke's Bay United 3-0. Waitakere United and Hamilton Wanderers had a 1-all draw. Yesterday, we had another draw between Eastern Suburbs and Team Wellington, and Canterbury United won 1-0 over Auckland City. That means Hamilton Wanderers still sit top of the table on 11 points, with Team Wellington in second on 9, closely followed by Eastern Suburbs on 8. We have 2 teams on 7 points: Wellington Phoenix and Auckland City, and Waitakere United and Canterbury on 6. So very tight there between Team Wellington in second and Canterbury United down there in 7th. Only 9 to 6 points there. Very, very tight table. Unfortunately, Hawke's Bay United, 5 losses from their 5 games, sit bottom of the table, clearly struggling in this competition. And let's finish up with the golf. Now, in the golf, let's finish up with the cricket. Sorry, not the golf. We talked about golf already. Don't forget to join us at 8 p.m. this evening for Swinging from the Hip, of the test matches. New Zealand and also we'll have a chat about India over in Australia, and also England series as well. So join us, as I say, at 8 p.m. As we talk about that here on New Zealand Sports Radio. If you'd rather listen to the recording, you can do. That'll come out as a podcast. Just search New Zealand Sports Radio on your favorite podcatcher. So let's move on then. In the second test down there in Wellington, The West Indies were all bowled out in their first innings for 131, and New Zealand enforced the follow-on. Blackwood was the only one to really put up any resistance with 69. In that, only 3 of the batsmen got into double figures. The West Indies are making a much better fist of it in their second innings, but are still in trouble. John Campbell has top scored so far with 68, and that's the opener there. But currently, Jason Holder, the captain, is on 60, and Joshua Da Silva is at the crease with him on 25. So those two are not out and will resume today, with the West Indies on 244 for 6. I should mention that first innings, Tim Southey took 5 wickets, and Carl Jameson took the other 5 wickets. In the second innings, it's been Trent Bolt's turn with 3 wickets to lead the way. So yes, the West Indies still trail by 85 runs in that one. Over in the New Zealand A versus West Indies A, after posting a total of 481 in their first innings, New Zealand A bowled out the West Indies for 290, meaning they had just avoided the follow-on. Shane Mosley with 110 really, and Romano Shepherd on 77 not out, with a 2 to lead the way for the West Indies. On the bowling side of things, Doug Bracewell took 6 wickets in the innings there. New Zealand came out and batted aggressively to post 174 off just 27.5 overs, a run rate of 6. A run rate over 6. But top scoring with 40 was Mark Chapman. On the bowling side of things, Rakeem Cornwell took 3 wickets, as did Hayden Walsh. The West Indies got put back in with a target of 358 to chase, and in their 8 overs before the close, Brandon King and Carl Myers reached 26 without loss. So no late wicket there. Today being the final day in that one, can the West Indies see out the day, or will the draw, you must say, probably on the cards, or if they can, otherwise, can New Zealand A take 10 wickets in a day? Over in Australia, and the 4-day game, which is a day-night game between the Indians and Australia A, was drawn. In the first innings, Indians scored 194. Australia in reply only made 108. In the second innings, India reached 368 for 4 declared, with Bihari on 104 and Pant on 103. Both of them not out, but putting on a big stand there after Agarwal and Gill also got their half centuries earlier in the innings. Australia was set a target of 473, and they made just 307 for 4 before the match was called drawn. Ben McDermott on 107 not out, and Jack Wildermuth on 111 not out saved it after early wobbles, because they lost Harris for 5 runs, Burns only scored 1, and Madison for 14 at the top of the order. And they were 3 for 25 at one point before McDermott and Kari, who also chipped in with a half century, steadied the ship, and then Wildermuth came to join McDermott to see them to safety. Sharmi got 2 wickets in that one, as 7 bowlers were used in all. So a lot of bowlers being given the opportunity in that game by both sides. You have now started the important sports news. Sorry, I've not been able to bring you an update about the beach volleyball, but I will endeavour to try and find out what happened at the weekend. That's all. But you've now started the day the best way, up to speed with all your important sports news.